Studying history is far more than memorizing dates or famous battles. It is the backbone of understanding who we are, where our customs come from, and why we act the way we do. Through history, we discover the invisible threads that bind our present culture to past events, threads often woven from foreign influences, borrowed practices, and inherited beliefs that we follow unquestioningly. Without this awareness, our daily lives can become little more than a performance of traditions whose origins we no longer recognize and whose assumptions may be fundamentally flawed. Every community carries stories of triumph, trauma, migration, and innovation. These narratives form a shared memory that anchors individuals to something larger than themselves, be it a nation, an ethnicity, or a religious group. Festivals, ceremonies, even casual greetings often originated in specific historical contexts. For example, many harvest festivals trace back to agrarian rites meant to ensure fertility and survival. Over centuries, these have become secular community celebrations divorced from their original purpose. Cultural exchange is constant. The British love of tea, for instance, began only after colonial trade with China and India. What feels quintessentially British is in fact a global import. Manners like shaking hands or removing shoes indoors carry stories too. Some derive from medieval guild gestures, others from religious purification rites. Without historical context, we accept them as just the way things are, missing both their significance and their arbitrariness. Laws, social hierarchies, and economic structures often persist simply because they were established long ago. When we study how they arose through conquest, colonization, or privilege, we can identify which aspects are unjust legacies rather than inevitable realities. Foundational myths, example, our nation was built on freedom and equality, can mask darker origins like displacement or forced labor. History unearths these uncomfortable truths, revealing where collective narratives have glossed over violence or exploitation. Engaging with primary sources, competing accounts, and revisionist scholarship trains the mind to question any dominant version of how things are. This skepticism safeguards against propaganda, marketing, and ideological manipulation. History shapes everything from the clothes we wear to the notions of justice we uphold. By examining the origins of our customs, laws, and beliefs, we avoid living a life scripted by unacknowledged legacies, many of which may no longer fit our present values or needs. Instead, history empowers us to understand the past, not as a distant relic, but as a living force that we can interpret, critique, and ultimately transform into a foundation for a more conscious, equitable, and authentic way of life.